All right, hello. This is day 4, and there's a barking dog, so that will hopefully not be too much of a distraction. Um, and I'm doing it early because it's Saturday, so I don't have to work, so let's go. You're already almost a mile below the surface of the ocean. However, so deep you can't see any sunlight. What you can't see is a giant squid that's attached itself to the outside of your submarine. Maybe it wants to play bingo. Bingo is played on a set of boards. You can see a 5 by 5 grid number. Number chosen at random. The number is marked on all boards on which it appears. Numbers may not appear on all boards. If all numbers in any row or any column are marked, that board wins. Diagonals don't count. Submarine has a bingo subsystem to help passengers. Currently using the giant to pass the time. It automatically generates a random order in which to draw numbers and a random set of boards. After the first 5 numbers are drawn, there are no winners, but the boards are marked as follows, so on. After the next 6 numbers are drawn, there are still no winners. Finally, 24 is drawn. At this point, the third board wins because it has at least one complete row or column of marked numbers. In this case, the entire top row is marked. The score of the winning board can now be calculated. Start by finding the sum of all unmarked numbers on that board. In that case, the sum is 188. Then multiply that sum by the number that was just called when the board won to get the final score. 188 times 24 equals 4512. To guarantee victory, figure out which board will win first. What will your final score be if you choose that board? All right, so there are a lot of things going on here, and so we're going to define a board, and we'll assume interesting. I don't think I will. And let's say grid, which is a list of lists of int. I don't want the parsing to happen in the constructor. That just seems like a bad idea. From typing import list. And self.grid equals grid. And now I'm going to do a couple things. One, self.row counts equals that's right, and self.column counts equals so what do I want to do? I want to keep track of how many things I let me do this. Self.nr equals len grid. So how many rows are there? Self.nc equals len grid 0. Good. And self.row counts equals row for blank in range self.nr, and self.call counts equals 0 for blank in range self.nc. So I'm going to use these to tell if I want. And now and let me sum of all unmarked numbers. Okay. Okay, so I think that's fine. And then def is winner, self and so this logic is wrong. So what I want to do is I want to say if any RC equals self.nc for RC and self.row counts. So in other words, if there's any row where the number of things that I've marked is number of columns, then I want to return true. Thanks, Copilot, you're telling me the exact wrong thing. If any column count equals self, okay, so it's figured out. If any column, that number is the number of rows, then also return true. And then otherwise I'll return false. And it's underlined because I need to do a double equals. Okay, so is winner. And now what I want to do is I want to mark self and number, which is an int, and that's going to return none. Okay, so let's see this. For I in range self dot nr, for j in range self dot nc, if self dot grid ij equals number, self dot row counts I plus equals 1, self dot call counts j plus equals 1. Okay, so this is what I wanted to do, and this is pretty smart of it to figure it out. Is this yeah, I might have used enumerate rather than range, but otherwise this is basically how I would have written it, right? And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a class which is a game, and it's going to have numbers, which is a list of int, and boards, which is a list of board. Okay. And now self.numbers equals numbers, self.boards equals boards, and I think that's right. Okay, and now it wants me to play, which is indeed what I want to do. But I don't want to do none. I want to actually, I'll break this into two pieces. Actually, no. Play the game and return the finals score of the winning board. And I'm going to have to do some work to get this to work. Okay, so for numbers, self.numbers, for board self.board number, if board is winner. So this is almost right. And score of board. So I want to do the following. Because I think I'm going to need this. Call.append number, return score board, comma, called. Because I have not been marking. Actually, maybe I do want to do that and say self.grid ij equals none. So then I can do that. And it's complaining because none is not an int. Type slice. I don't even know what that means. Self.grid. Grid is a list of int. Self.grid ij equals. What if I did -1? Would that work? Yeah. I hate doing that. Bad. But I'll do it anyway because so the score depends on the board and also the last number called, right? I think that was what the logic said. Actually, let me do board.score number. So I'll put that logic in there. Def score self number, which is an int, is going to return an int. Yeah, thank you. Return the score of the board. And now let's go back and look at the sum of all unmarked numbers on that board. Then multiply that number going by the, okay. So turn number times sum of entry for row in self dot grid for entry in row, and then we use -1 as our sentinel, right? If entry is not equal to -1. Okay. So if not for the type, I would have done none, and that would have been better. But and then finally, raise value error, no winner. Okay, and then finally we need to basically parse the game, right? So that'll be a class method. Or no, it'll be a static method. I don't want a class. So raw string into a game. Yeah. Okay. So let's say, yep. So lines equals raw split line, so that's true. Numbers equals int n for n in line 0 dot split. Okay. I don't know what this means, but this is whatever it means is not right. And then lines equals lines 1. So now, actually, let me do lines 2, so I'm going to skip that. Actually, let me do it this way. Let's say paragraphs equals raw dot splits on 2 new lines, right? Numbers equals int n for it. So that was right. Okay. Paragraphs equals paragraphs 1, and then boards equals board dot parse paragraph for paragraph in paragraphs. Okay, so now I need to do board dot parse. So I want to again do a static method def parse raw string to board. Grid equals for, yep, and then int n for n line is split for row and row is split to n, so that seems right as well. And return board grid. What happened? Oh, I didn't press tab, so it didn't save. All right, so except it did line dot split, so it's not calling my variables or anything. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm saying here's a board, and I want to split it into lines, and then for each line I want to split on spaces, although actually I think that's going to be a little bit wrong too. Let me drop into Python and double check. No, that does the right thing actually. Okay, that's good. Okay, so I think this is all written. So now what I want to do is I want. Oh, I don't know what happened there. What? I don't know what's going on here. Some weird VS Code thing. Okay, so so let's say game equals game.parse raw. Um, Score equals. Actually no. Uh, game dot. Yeah, that's score equals game dot play, and then let's assert that score equals 609. That's what it thinks it is. Okay. No, 4512. So I have no idea if this is going to be right or if I made a stupid mistake at some point. So let us try it. Invalid literal for int with base 10. Paragraphs. So this one has commas and these are spaces. Okay, so that's dumb. So let us go back and fix that. Numbers equals int, and so now we need to split on commas. Now let's try it. Okay, so that passed. That's good. So that that's such an elaborate logic that it's presumably doing the right thing. So let's get our puzzle input. And this is one of those things where if it doesn't go right, then you're like, okay, what happened? And it will be very hard to debug. But deo4.text, so that's good. If name equals main, so once again, it can't figure out that raw equals open data deo4.text.read game equals game.parse raw print game.play. All right. So that is what I want to do. And it says that the score is this number 63424. So let's try that. That is the right answer. Okay, good. On the other hand, it might be wise to try a different strategy. Let the giant squid win. You aren't sure how many bingo boards the giant squid can play at once. Rather than waste time counting its arms, safe thing to do is to figure out which board will win last and choose that one. That way, no matter which boards it picks, it will win for sure. The above example, the second board is the last to win. Which happens after 13 is eventually called and its middle column is completely marked. If you were to keep playing to this point, the second board have a sum of unmarked numbers equal to 148. Figure out which board will win last. Okay, so that should be so we're going to make a new method called play last, which is int, which is play the game until only one board is left, return its score when it wins. Let's see what copilot does with this. So it kind of gets the idea and it kind of doesn't get the idea. And what I mean is this. We do want a while len of self.board. Actually, I don't want to do quite that. What I want to say is remaining boards equals, okay, that's what I want to do. While len of remaining boards is bigger than 1, what I want to do is I'm just going to copy this loop again. Actually, no, here's what I want to do. For number and self.numbers for board and board.numbers. If board is winner, then I want to do two things. If so let's change this to remaining board. Well, actually, I can destroy it just fine. That's fine. So for board in self.boards board. If board is winner, and len of self.boards equals 1, then I want to return that board score. Otherwise, if the board is winner, self.boards remove board. Okay, so that seems right. And it doesn't make sense, but it needs it, so the type checking. Okay, so so let's see. We're going to start playing the game. For each board, we're going to mark the number. If the board is winner and that's the last board, return its score. Otherwise, if it's the winner, remove the board. I'm worried it's not going to like us removing things while it's iterating over them, right? So let's just do this. So let me do this. To remove dot append board. And now also continue, right? So I don't need to do anything else for that loop. And now for board into remove, self.boards remove board. Okay, so the issue here, why did I do that? I did that because I'm iterating over boards and so self.boards, and I don't want to change self.boards while I'm iterating over it. Bad things will happen, and Python will probably give me an error, to be honest. So so what I do is I say I'll just keep a list of things that I want to remove, and then as I go through, I'll add to them. And then finally, like once I get to the end of iterating over the boards, now I will remove those boards, and then I don't have that problem. And so I think that will do the right thing. And so this says 1924. So let's try that for my and now I'm going to have to parse this again because we've destroyed it. I lost that number that I copied. 1924. Okay. So let us try that unit test and see if it runs. It does. So now let's do this again. And again, I'm going to have to do parse it again and print game.playLast. So that should be good. And this says 23541, which is good. So let's try that. That is the right answer. Okay, good. So, as you can see, Copilot was of some help on this one and less help on other ones. For instance, it, like me, missed the fact that these were comma separated and that these are space separated. It just wrote them assuming that all were space separated, and I didn't check it. This self.row counts and self.column counts is, why did I do that? That's a trick from, there's an interview question that sometimes you ask for coding interview of like, finding winners on an arbitrary tic-tac-toe board. And it turns out that, the asymptotics of like checking every row and every column and every diagonal after every move, it's like n times n times n. You don't like it. But if you do these row and column counts, then you basically get O of 1 check winner. And so for these boards, it doesn't matter. The data set's so small, but it's like habit, and it's it's kind of my instinct to do it. Because all I care about is if a row is full or if a column is full. And so if I just keep track of like what's in each column and what's in each row, then it makes it real easy to check. And the thing is it's a little bit fiddly, right? I mean, I guess I could have hard coded everything to be 5 by 5. I don't like doing that. And it's possible in part two they would have done 6 by 6, and then I would have had to throw it out. So, here I'm not even assuming that it's a square. It could be an arbitrary rectangle, and this code works. Um, but to mark it, then I just add to the row count, add to the column count, and again, this is. I don't like using -1 as my sentinel. I like using none as a sentinel, but I didn't want to like put all the type hints everywhere that it would take. Like I would have to type grid as like a list of optional ints. I guess that's not that hard, but it gets messy. I'd rather not do that. So I just did -1, even though it's bad. The is winner is these checks are easy now because otherwise I would have to iterate over each row and check, iterate over each column. Here it's just, check one thing, check one thing. That's easy enough. And then the score is just avoiding the sentinel. And then, the parsing is straightforward other than the commas. And then playing was just following instructions. And then the play last, as you saw me do, and Copilot was no help on that. You don't want to remove things from a collection while you're iterating over the collection. So I had to do a bit of indirection there. I think it would have broken if I'd done that. But maybe, I'm pretty sure it would have broken. So that's that. Another day down the drain. I don't think Copilot, it was helpful. It wrote some boilerplate code, but it definitely didn't solve the problem for me. So cool. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.